Boys and girls, welcome to the first episode of the Myndful Investor Podcast show. Your hosts here, Alex Osenenko and
Steve Rozenberg.
Steve Rozenberg, good buddy. You know, this might not be episode 1. This is episode 0. To introduce the series to you. So,
sure.
Just very quick background. Steve and I have spent the last, probably a decade plus in real estate in various
forms.
Various forms. We don't have to dig in too much into it. But the takeaways is we want to provide on this episode, and this very, very first episode is like, how do you deal with fear of getting started? This is something that I think is in the way of a lot of people's success.
Sure. It's sometimes it prohibits them from success because they just don't take action. And I don't think it's just real estate. I think it's anything that they do. Whether it's, we'll talk about, us making decisions to join Mynd and leave our businesses and join our companies together and all the things that we've done. But those are big things that, lack of action would not cause us to be here.
Huge. Or there's risk tolerance. So let's start unpacking this.
Yeah.
So this is the Myndful Investor Podcast show, boys and girls. Our purpose here, our goal is to bring reality data, facts for real estate investors who are, about to make an investment or will continue to be successful making investments, maybe pivot into different type of investments. We're going to cover a lot of things here, but the underlying purpose for us is to make sure we provide you with data and fact-driven stuff, but also in story format.
Yeah, and the one thing I think that a lot of people have a challenge with is when they want to get involved in investing and they want to see and seek out how to get wealth. I think the biggest challenge is that everybody shows you kind of how to get the deal. The sexy, how I can make a bunch of cash-on-cash return and investments. But there's nobody there that actually shows you what do you do on day 2 once you own that deal. Like, you get a deal that says this is going to be a 30% cash-on-cash return, and this is going to be these numbers. But the next thing is what do you do on day 5 when the tenant says, I lost my job and I'm not leaving? And so we're going to talk to the investors, in my opinion, and discuss how did you guys as investors get around those kinds of things, and how did you work through those problems? Because as investing, I always tell people, this is the sandbox that we play in. We are in a sandbox where there are a lot of challenges. There's a lot of, the good thing about real estate is there's no rules. The bad thing about real estate is there's no rules. So it's good and it's bad. And if, unfortunately, when you're in this industry, there's really nobody there. There's no guidelines to tell you whether you're doing right or doing wrong.
You know what Warren Buffett said, which is like stays with me forever. He's like, he would never make an investment in a business or company he does not understand.
Yep.
Completely. He's a smart guy. He understands a lot of things.
Sure.
But this is kind of this show's purpose is to help you understand.
Yes.
Whether it's a specific vertical you want to get into.
Right.
But even before getting super educated on a particular vertical, let's call it, buy and hold or
flipping,
or
whatever.
maybe and within buy and hold, there's single family, there's multifamily,
Absolutely.
there's Houston,
there's so many ways.
There's Boise, there's Albuquerque, right?
It cascades down. I mean, it's such a deep cavernous column. People don't realize, and that's a good point because I think a lot of people they want to get into investing. There's all these people that show them how to get the deal, but there's nobody to show you how to create the wealth.
Right.
And they never. And I think that a lot of people. They don't want to take the time to slow down to speed up. They don't want to take the time to educate themselves on how to actually get the wealth. They just want the wealth. And I think all of us want that, right? Yeah. We just want to make it happen. And unfortunately, there's people that have hands in your pockets. They want to make money off of you. They see the ability
especially in this business.
Absolutely.
As you say, there's no rules.
There's no rules. That's the problem.
You can put a syndication.
Yep.
Like, you can announce syndication on this show, and there will be people who will
Absolutely. Yeah. And the whole, like you had said, the whole goal of this show is not to talk about the glory of some of these investors that we've had on the show and going to have.
Because there's shows like that. Everybody just coming in.
Yeah, everybody showing how great they are and how much money they make. I don't want to know that. We want to know, and I want to know personally, like, first of all, how did you get to where you are, and how do you continue to drive yourself to be a better person, because a lot of people on the show are going to learn that a lot of the people that we talk to, the one common thread that you're going to find with a lot of these investors is the balance of their personal life and how happy they are on a personal level. It's not just a numbers thing of owning investments. They're doing it to create a lifestyle for them and for their family. And it's very interesting to see how people that are creating wealth and being wealthy, how they actually will continue to do it. They've already made the money. They don't need the money. They're doing it to keep the lifestyle that they want to have and the balance with their family, which is totally different than a lot of other fields and investment, industries that I've ever, known of.
But it's also a game.
Absolutely.
Right? Once you get,
it's the thrill of the hunt.
We spoke to Jay, and we're about to sort of Jay Scott. We're about to announce like what the first series is going to be all about. The first season, I should say. But like the Jay Scott, like he's the thrill of the deal. Like,
oh yeah,
he's fine. He's very happy. Like, but like, what are you gonna do if you're not, if you just sit there and enjoy I guess some people can go to the library and ski all day.
Yeah.
But the folks that will listen to the show, I think, will find thrill of the deal, but also that, as you said, not just the deal. Thrill of the deal is like step one, but then it's the day-to-day management of
absolutely.
your portfolio. It's
the all-encompassing, it's almost like you're living not a mantra, but you're living a lifestyle. And we had Dr. Steve on, right?
He's an interesting
he's a doctor. He owns a lot of real estate, has no desire to quit being a doctor, very successful. And so
wait, no. He wanted to quit. That's what the whole episode was about. Don't you remember? I
thought at the end he said he didn't want to quit.
So we got him there. But so this is a very interesting episode, and look forward to that episode.
Yeah, that was a good episode.
Weeks.
Yeah.
Now, there's an MD, like legit, one of the best doctors.
Put himself through medical school on his own.
Oh, yeah. It's a fascinating story. And what happens is he now wants to go real estate full time just because he loves it. He loves the dynamic of it. He understood it. He's the kind of guy, like he went to the pilot school.
Yep.
He's the kind of guy who put his mind to something and just get it done and be like a top 1%.
Yep. Absolutely.
But he wants to quit MD and so eventually I think where we got with him, I'm not going to give too much away.
Don't give too
much.
But
there's an opportunity for him to continue practicing medicine in a lot less intense way.
Yeah, because he doesn't need the money. Right. Because he does it, he's doing what he loves doing, and money's not a problem. And so that's what you're going to learn with a lot of these people, and what we're trying to extract from the show with a lot of these guests is that you're going to find there's a lot of people that have different work-life balances that are very successful. Some that money is not the driver, but they are successful, but that doesn't drive them. And so it's going to be a way that you, as an investor, aspiring investor, experienced investor, whatever it is, wherever you are in your stage of your career, you're going to look at that and maybe do some self-reflection and kind of go, I wonder how this applies to me. I wonder if there's some things that I could do better, I could do different. Maybe I can't do any of these at all, but I think that you're going to do some self-reflection on that from these people that we talk to. Very unassuming, but very successful. And I think you're going to get a lot of very good takeaways from that, just like you and I did, because you had a business, right? You owned a business. You removed yourself from that business and joined another company. There's a lot of self-reflection that has to go on before you do something like that, right?
I mean, it's incredible. So let's shift to that part of the conversation. And by the way, those of you folks listening or watching, if you're watching, thank you. You can just go into the next episode if you want to dig into the content and stuff. But Steve and I will talk about next is very quickly talk about how to actually get started. So I think those of you who have not maybe want to stick around a little bit. There's a mental shift that has to happen. Like, I didn't used to believe in any of that voodoo sheesh, right? To me, it was just like, if you're smart enough, if you work hard enough, you'll get there. Right. You'll get there. You work hard enough, you're smart enough, you'll get there.
Yeah. It's not always the case.
No.
I know a lot of smart people that make no money.
No.
And they're not happy
either. It's not even about money, right? It's like, what the doctor wanted to Dr. Steve wanted to make a move. I clearly remember there's a lot of administration stuff.
Yeah.
With with
Being
his
a doctor.
profession, that he just doesn't, like, with real estate frees him up to do what he loves. With doctoring, he wants to cure people. He loves that.
He loves it. He loves the life. Like he was saying, he loved being there when a baby is born, and even when somebody passes on, he feels like he's a part of that. It's something almost holistic. He said that you're a part of this whole cycle of life. But if you're just sitting there trying to get a paycheck, you're not even paying attention to that part of the job, which is probably why you even got involved in being a doctor in the first place. Or, Jay Scott, right? He's got racehorses, right? He spends so much time with his family. Brandon Turner. You've got all these people that we know that are just so focused on doing what they want to do. They can enjoy their family because they've taken those, I don't even want to say calculated risks, but they've been so smart in understanding what their next steps are because they've watched shows like this. They've educated themselves. Sure, they've made mistakes. We're all going to make mistakes. Yeah. It's not a failure unless you learn from it. If you learn from it, then it's a lesson, right? But it's just one of those things that I think what we want to unpack in these shows is why these people are being successful and how you are just like these people and you can be successful too. You've just maybe have to change your mindset and think a little bit differently. Would you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. And the passion plays into it. I'm just wondering, like, I want to, first episode or 0.01 episode, I want to introduce our behind the scenes guy, Dan. I'm just curious, Dan, are you passionate about the video? You're out there filming.
You look passionate.
You sipping on a Corona.
Yeah, you look a little passionate there, Dan.
Anyway, so Dan is our. You'll see him. You'll see the quality of what we produce.
Yes, absolutely.
That will be his.
Top-notch quality. It's gonna, like I said, it's gonna be top-notch quality. It's gonna be the level of people we have, the thought processes we have, the access to educational levels that we're gonna be able to bring in. I think it's gonna be bar none one of the best, if not the best, shows that are out there with current, constant education at a ground level, I think.
Let's talk about this. Let's we promised this. Let's talk about this.
Okay.
Let's talk about your move that you made. So
why am I first?
Well, I don't know, because I am the one speaking.
Okay, fair enough. You be
I'm
first.
the one asking the question, and so you've made a significant move. So I'll give a quick pre-story.
Okay.
You've been an investor, and I'm going to move out the chair for a second because I want to grab your book. We're using it as a coaster.
Yeah, they threw it on the floor. I think it was on the way. They threw it on the floor.
So Dan was kind of
a lot of respect for my workings.
Yeah, he signed my book. We're not selling any books, but
no.
The idea is like he was a failed investor, Steve.
Yep.
Because it looked good on paper, and they kept on buying it. And when it didn't work, you know what was a good idea?
Buy more of them. Buy more. Why not?
Buy more. And so from there, he said like he couldn't manage it, so he started a management company. Very successful. Grew that company to, 900 properties. Like
900 doors,
in Houston. And all of a sudden, things like he's one of the fastest growing companies in Texas.
Yep.
Got like hundreds of 5-star Google reviews.
Yep.
Absolutely dominating. And guess what happened? Steve decided to make a move and partner with Mynd. So in other words, essentially sell his company to Mynd in order for a chance to join and become a host of this show.
Yeah.
Like that was a big deal, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And it's to me, again, I've always learned in my life, and this is something I think a lot of people can take away, what gets you here is not going to get you there. And, you and I have had these conversations that I think life, and someone told this to me one time and it really resonated with me, that life is like a book and you have chapters. And there's a chapter that could be a great chapter, but at some point that chapter ends. And when that chapter ends, a new chapter begins. And you don't go back to that chapter again. And the company, Pete Newbig and I built and, the team that we had, it was a great chapter. And it got us to the next chapter. And the next chapter is going to be an even better chapter. And that'll be a chapter after that. And I think that's life. And I think that a lot of people never flip that page and they never move on to the next chapter and maybe they slide backwards. And so I think the biggest challenge, the thing that I learned was this is just part of the growth cycle. It's like leaving high school, right? We all know friends in high school that never left high school. They're still there mentally talking about the days of high school.
Yeah.
They've never left there. And so a lot of people, same thing in business. Some people just do not want to leave the comfort zone of their business. And, look, you read these books, you do the audios, and you hear like, you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable. And that's all well and good until you really are uncomfortable. And now you've got, it's like the rubber meets the road.
That's when
it's growth. You have to be okay. Yeah. And at some point you've got to say, you know what? I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to trust my education. I'm going to trust everything I'm doing. I'm going to shut this chapter and I'm going to move on to the next. And that's kind of what I did. I trusted the process. I trusted you, the people at Mynd, everybody that was involved in helping us come over. I trusted it. And I said, you know what? Based on educated, calculated decisions, based on everything that I think that Mynd will be able to provide for me and where the future is with Mynd, it was a no-brainer. But there's still that risk. You're leaving your own company that's doing fine, that's very successful.
No-brainer. People say in a rearview mirror, it's no-brainer. Like when you're in the
turn, it's not as easy. You know?
Remember we talked about your role. So now you're VP of Investor Education. We talked about your role. We had a lot of back and forth. There was emotional moments, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's difficult, guys and girls. It's definitely difficult.
It's not easy.
Can I unpack something you said?
Sure.
You said there's a chapter. I love that, by the way. You always teach me new things. Oh, it's mine now.
Can't quote that.
So chapters. How do you know? I sometimes have problems with this. How do you know when the chapter is coming to an end? Is it when you see a new opportunity and it's like, whoa, you know it's it? Like, how do you know when the chapter is ending? How not to hold on for too long in it?
I think that's different for everybody, but I think sometimes the chapter closes already and you don't realize it. Like your chapter, like you may have a chapter that's already closed and you are just not accepting that it's closed. Sometimes when when you're in the heat of battle and you're kind of in the weeds and, again, this chapter, the book's over, the movie's over, right? The credits are rolling and you're still sitting there not leaving the movie theater, right? And so sometimes we may not want to accept that chapter is over in our life.
Do you have an example, by any chance? Can you think of an example of someone you know? You don't have to name names, or maybe yourself, where you sort of overstayed your welcome, per se.
I mean,
you wheeled in a bag today, your airline bag, into my house.
And he said, "Are you staying here tonight?"
You cannot tell me anything.
Yes.
So maybe we'll cover it tonight. But is there a chapter?
I don't know that I have a chapter. I mean, maybe I do that I don't know about. But I think, my thought, I've learned. I'll give you a perfect example where I made a decision. A lot of indicators. So, my being an airline pilot, right? So that chapter, 9/11, that chapter ended, right? So for me, now I still stayed as an airline pilot, but after 9/11, there was a new chapter.
For sure.
A lot of people did not want to accept it. So what did a lot of people do? They went down to South America to fly. They went over to Asia and they flew airplanes at a quarter of the income that you were making as a U.S. airline pilot. Why? Because they didn't want to accept that things were changed and they didn't make the decision to flip the page and start a new chapter. I said, you know what? I love being a pilot. However, I'm not going to let this dictate me anymore. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take control of my future and start learning about real estate. A lot of other people said, I'm going to Korea. I'll be there for 3 years flying, small planes until this thing weeds itself out. To me, that's not accepting that the chapter has ended. So that's the best way I could describe how a chapter can change and you not accepting that it's changed. Because all the indicators were that the airline industry as a whole will never be the same again.
That's very good.
So that's how I would essentially say that's how you know it. But enough about me. Let's talk about you, Alex.
Dude, I can't believe how we've done podcasts in the past, but I can't believe how this is connected, because I was just gonna say, Dan, stop the recording for a second. Steve, why don't you ask me about Nina? Because we only have 20 minutes for this 0.01 episode.
Yes, 0.01,
we want to be respectful to the audience. They don't want to us yammer for 20 minutes. They want to get into the meat of what this is all about, which is top-notch education, validated, and with a couple of guys
so
who know what they're talking
based on this conversation, we're talking about people making a decision and moving on and things happening, right? So you had company, right? You had a very successful company. Still have the company. And you made a decision to essentially remove yourself and join Mynd, right? Essentially, he's my boss, so I got to be somewhat nice to him, I guess. But basically, you made a decision, right? And calculated or not, the chapter ended, right? Some chapter ended, and again, it's not just you, right? You've got a wife, you've got children. There's a whole trail behind you that are affected. There's a ripple effect, right?
There's also people in the company I left.
In the company you left, the allegiance going, hey, where's Alex? Alex, and so there's a maybe a guilt factor at some level to go, man, how do I do this? Am I doing the right thing? Am I being selfish? Am I doing the right thing for my family? How did you unpack all that and go through those iterations mentally?
Definitely a lot of guilt. Definitely a lot of sort of second guessing yourself. I think that's all normal, but like. You will laugh maybe. Stoicism is something that I am sort of investing in right now, my sort of mental resources. And Tim Ferriss is my favorite podcaster, and he's big. He wrote this book, The Tao of Seneca. And anyway, it's very interesting philosophy on how to sort of deal with change. Mm-hmm. But the way I think about this is one life. I think I learned it from you. Yeah. Like, you only have like 4,900, whatever, however many.
4,400 weeks is the average person lives.
Yeah. 44, that's it?
4,400 weeks is the average person.
Blink of an eye, baby. So yeah, if you're not like taking action now, like when opportunity came about, Mynd CEO, and I had a great podcast on my previous show, the Property Management Podcast, and we connected really well. And we sort of started talking, and we'll find out like this company is going to do crazy things. Like, somebody is going to figure out how to become like the Southwest of property management.
Well,
the Zappos of property. Like,
there we go. I don't fly for Southwest, so I don't know if but I get it. I get your point.
Your cool
the Google
name
of the
here,
internet search engine. How's that?
Yeah, I like to make. Yeah, okay. So not WeWork. Different. But
too soon.
Yes, too soon. Somebody is going to figure this out. Like, I love the team. I love the direction. I love the company. They have access to capital.
Yeah.
Smart people. Smart boys and girls work with us. And look, Steve and I have a chance to create like amazing things. And my passion is to teach. Like, I love teaching. Like, running company I love it. But the creative part of directing, like the strategic, direction of the company, and teach and coach the team and our future customers or just listeners or just audience. So anyway, that's all passion. And so for me, like, just let me take a quick shortcut because I could talk a lot about this. It was a very difficult decision. Yeah. And I left a lot of people behind. I don't necessarily feel great about everything that I've done, but I think to me the important thing is no fear. Like, you got to remove fear and be more deliberate about this. That's number one. And number two, it's a game. It's a game. You get 4,400 weeks to play it.
That's right. That's it.
Like, I will make the moves that I need to make for my family, but as well as like, I'm not going to be 39 or 40 again.
Yeah, you can't. You can't go backwards, and you can't be afraid to step off that ledge. You educate yourself, and you learn how to step, but you cannot be afraid to take that step. Now, you're going to have critics, you're going to have criticism, you're going to have people that second guess you. You're going to have all of that.
Just the comments under the show. We'll show that there's a lot of people really unhappy with my decision. A lot of people that wish me well and very, very happy.
I think more of the latter. I think a lot of people want to wish you well. I think all of us. I mean, I think there's some people that kind of go, man, I kind of wish I did that. Deep down. I mean, I think there's a lot of that. So. I think just to kind of wrap this up, I think what we're trying to get across is Alex and I are really going to dig deep in these shows with these investors. We're going to ask them those questions.
Hard questions.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to ask them some self-defining questions, and we are going to have some definitely solid industry players that are here. Maybe not here in this studio, but in our studio. We've got some bigger pockets content. We've got a lot of stuff that's really going to unpack and really ask people, how do you do it? Why do you do it? How do you keep doing it? And how are you getting better? And those are the kind of concepts that we're going to go through.
So until then, enjoy the rest of the season. We'd love to have you as a listener. Drop us a line or comments to the show. We're always happy to hear. If there's a specific thing you learn, what's our Facebook group?
The Mastermind Real Estate Facebook group. Definitely join that because there's a lot of people in there.
It's a private group, though.
It's a private group.
So you got to go through a little bit of a quick interview.
Questions.
Questionnaire.
That's some
but
questions.
We want to make sure like real people.
We want quality people, right? We don't want people selling stuff in there. We want people that actually want to learn or want some resources to answer some real estate questions because that's what it's about.
And speaking of selling, that one thing, you can be assured we're not selling anything here.
No.
The beauty to be funded by a large company and growing and thriving company like Mynd, we don't have to sell anything.
Nope. No sponsorships,
Nobody
no
is going to
selling,
sell
nothing.
you crap on this show. Mark it now and enjoy the rest of the season. Thank you very much for tuning in.
Make sure you subscribe to our show and make sure you go to our landing page. We're going to have shows dropping all the time on Fridays. This is when our shows are going to drop. Make sure you're paying attention. Join the Facebook group, and you're going to get a lot of good content information from all different walks of life and all different types of investors. So again, make sure you subscribe it, write it on your hand, do what you got to do, but make sure that you know our shows are coming out here.
Write it on your hand.
We'll see you guys.
See you later.